The Islamist connection with Zohran Mamdani is fascinating, and of course all of his rhetoric around globalize the Intifada and refusing to distance himself, that's all par for the course with the Democrats. The thing I'm more fascinated by, though, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, he's young. He is getting the votes of the young, college, university-educated classes, the hipster classes, the white, young, well-off classes, and he's preaching socialist revolution, government-owned grocery stores, price controls, rent controls, and a big fight against the huge cost of living in New York. How much of this is also due to this idea that we've got what some people have called a crisis of elite overproduction, that we've got too many graduates, too many people who feel like they're entitled to great lifestyles and jobs and so on, and an economy that's not providing for it? Is this a harbinger of a bigger kind of socialist type revolution being led by the affluent sons and daughters of the upper middle class?
So that's a great point, James. And I also came across an op-ed recently that was arguing something similar. We do have tremendous income equality in the United States, and New York is one of the most magnified areas. But we have also seen post-October 7th the absolute rot in the fabric of much of our academia in terms of how we're indoctrinating students, giving them a sense of victimhood. And to me, that is the central theme of Mamdani. The victimhood, the critical grievance theory, and somebody owes us. That's what marries the socialism to the Islamism. And the Islamists are expert at exploiting that. Even if Mamdani himself is not a card-carrying Islamist, that is the move. And that's what's so worrying. Our younger generations see themselves as victims and look for entitlement from elsewhere.
Let's just one quick other grab of Zohran Mamdani. Let's have a quick look.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now.
Qanta, we'll get on to Syria shortly, but just one last question on Mamdani. He's just such a ball of contradictions. On the one hand, he's pro-Islam, but on the same, he's wanting to use taxpayer funds for what he calls gender-affirming care for children. All these sort of conflicting positions that don't really go together. How is he pulling this off?
I think we've seen, and we saw this with AOC, who is the other far-left radical that is elected in New York City, Congresswoman, that these politicians are actually playing much less to the voters and much more to their social media constituencies. This is a social media generation. They look at maybe 40-second clips and come to a conclusion. And they are seduced by these ideologues and don't expose those contradictions. We have tremendous homelessness in New York. A lot of that is related to drug addiction and lack of supply of mental health expertise and lack of prioritization. That's part of it. The answer is not to take houses from some and hand to the other. That's not a solution. And the answer is certainly not to get rid of policing. We're actually asking for more policing in New York City. So he is intellectually shallow, but he is incredibly seductive in social media, and that's a danger.
Now, I want to ask you about what's happening in Syria. We saw Israel launching airstrikes in Damascus. They've said they're going to do what they can to protect the Druze community there. There's absolutely horrific videos emerging from atrocities being committed against that community. What's the state of play now? And is the ceasefire, is that something that you expect to hold?
So the Druze are, from the 10th century, they're split between living in Israel and living in Syria. I've been to their villages in Majd al-Shams. They are facing an Islamist genocidal assault that's been going on from Saturday night. This is rapes, beheadings, murders, religious men and other men, their mustaches and beards shaved off, their lips and nose macheted off in public. a hospital besieged by Sunni Islamist jihadists. They're coming from all over the region, Chechnya, Dagestan, Syria, and the Druze are under siege. They're defending themselves. And Druze are also Israeli members of the IDF who've been incredible in this war since October 7th. And in general, they're very, very loyal Israelis. So Israel needs to hold the peace. The United States has to do more than talking. We have to absolutely augment the Israelis to defend the Druze. We have to arm and train the Druze. And we also have to support the Kurds. Syria will implode without supporting the pluralist minorities. In the meantime, people are being hunted down. The videos are absolutely appalling. Exactly what Hamas did. And if we think that we're in Australia or New York and this is not relevant, the Bosnian War is exactly what inspired American, British, Australian extremists to go into radical Islam and then come back and damage our own countries. Rita, you said something very important, that 16-year-old foreign fighters are not held criminally liable when they come back to Australia. This is going to feed off generations of Islamists. We must take action now and put pressure on the Australian government, the American government to support Israel. The Saudis, the Gulf, Saudi Arabia is guaranteed the president of Syria, who 5 minutes ago was a leader of an Islamist jihadist group.
Qanta, Ahmed, always great to chat to you, and you're 100% correct about Syria and this al-Jilani character. I'll be talking more about that after the break.